WestJet employees were like a family. We were all owners in the company. We were proud of that.
Those times are long gone. There are far more discretionary and unfair management practices going on in this company.
With scheduling, whether or not they have the ability to bring forward health and safety concerns without consequences.
Favoritism.
The fact our current plastic union couldn't do much to help us.
WestJet has an Airline Employee Association, AEA, that they claim works like a union. The leadership of the AEA is appointed by the leadership of WestJet. And the AEA would really have no leverage or power except to take notes. They can't bargain for the employee, they can't represent the employee.
With the fake union that we have, we don't have a say.
We just didn't feel like there was any resolutions to some of our problems.
In our Air Canada agreement, for example, when they launched their ultra low-cost carrier Rouge, we were able to guarantee that our members maintained that work. When WestJet launched Swoop, you didn't have any such thing negotiated by the AEA.
Instead of switching over WestJet employees to work at Swoop, airport workers were contracted out by a third party. We didn't even know that was going to happen.
We really, really need that. We do, a collective agreement. They just do what they want.
We started seeing cracks in the organization.
I reached out to try and get some assistance on how to move forward organising a union. I had a big target on my back, getting dragged into meetings until I had information given to me through Unifor.
And we had to really have them relearn what their rights were and what their power was as workers.
We did that with people who worked in the airlines and could speak credibly about what the benefit of the union was.
With more than 30 locations across Canada.
We had member organizers fanned out everywhere that we could call on in a minute. All of that groundwork that we had sort of laid all came to fruition when Onyx bought.
We all woke up one day and then found out that Onyx had bought WestJet, and then we'd all been bought out.
They think it's going to be a good thing that they're bringing more money in.
We don't have anything in writing. Jobs could be lost. They could be given to contract workers. I'm personally a little concerned about my job.
In the purchase agreement, there was a section under Employee Matters, and it stated that Onyx was only required to maintain jobs for 1 year when they took over the operations, unless workers were covered by a collective agreement or became covered by a collective agreement. And we talked about that a year before any outsourcing took place. Unfortunately, folks asked the AEA. The AEA stated that it wouldn't take place, and quite frankly, it did.
I think a big eye-opener for all of us was literally when COVID hit.
And the pandemic just sped up what we already knew, which was Onyx was not going to be kind to workers at WestJet. They slashed 2/3 of their employees to third-party logistic companies, and people who had had 10 and 15 years of service there lost their jobs indefinitely.
The GSAs, the CSAs at 34 other bases, and our ground crew, TAC, they all lost their jobs and were outsourced. So yes, I knew many, many people.
37 workplaces down to 4. Thousands of people lost their jobs.
A lot of them were very close friends of mine, and I miss them dearly. I'm probably going to start crying. Yeah.
When will our base be next to be subcontracted? Ottawa, Winnipeg, Halifax, those are all decent-sized bases.
All of a sudden, everyone thought, oh boy, this is exactly what you've been talking to me about for the last year and a half.
We had overwhelming response in Vancouver after we saw the GSAs and all the other tier 2 and 3 bases lose their jobs.
There was one night where we had 40 cards come in overnight.
How does the union benefit you? All of a sudden, that became very clear.
Large companies that were unionized had more stability and less fear of job loss.
Customer service agents, other airline employees were working their full-time hours and so on because they were unionized.
Workers reached out to us. However, we weren't able to be in airports.
Being able to use that digital space, I think, was a very, very clever pivot.
Lots of Facebook chatting, lots of WhatsApp chatting, digging into your phone, finding contacts, reaching out to people, asking if they have any questions. And then lots of people would reach out to us.
We're actually in the comfort of your own home where people become much more open in that environment.
People that were still on layoff status, we would reach them mostly through social media. And it was quite easy because the people that we were reaching were all concerned about their jobs. So they were quite ready to sign a Unifor card.
Unifor is a leading voice for aviation workers in Canada.
I want to thank Jerry Dias from Unifor. There's no better friend to the aviation workers than Jerry.
We were providing information that they weren't receiving from neither their employer or their internal association.
I received constant and continuous communication from Unifor going over what was going on in the industry. So when I got back to work after being recalled, I got quite involved with the union drive because I really believed that we needed it to happen.
When the pandemic hit, this required us to do outreach to the Labor Board to ensure that using a fully digital card was legal and would be upheld. And we were able to make this change quickly on the go while ensuring that we didn't lose any of the momentum.
The workers in Vancouver and Calgary had worked incredibly hard. They had done the work, they were ready to go. We were in really good shape in both of those locations, and we knew we were going to get certified.
The Federal Industrial Relations Board has now passed on the paperwork that makes Unifor the certified bargaining agent for the WestJet workers in Calgary and in Vancouver.
I would say that there's a lot of momentum happening now with Toronto and Edmonton WestJetters, seeing that Calgary and Vancouver have certified for union.
So the excitement unfolded as they started nominating each other or themselves for the position of the bargaining committee or running for executive roles in the union. I think it's really exciting that when WestJetters were deciding on their local union number, they became local 531 of Unifor, signifying the 531 members that joined in the first certification.
I was really fortunate and proud to be part of the union drive.
When I found out that Unifor had become our union, it felt like Christmas.
We finally have some protection and a voice that's in the room to stand up and fight for what we need on the floor.
Everybody was very happy about that.
WestJetters have a real voice in the workplace, and we're excited for that.
In the lottery, definitely.